afternoon to everyone. It is a pleasure to be here with you today. Thank you, Mexico Business News, for the opportunity to discuss the growth of representation and advancement of women in the Mexico mining industry with this expert panel. My name is Jennifer Burge, and as Myra mentioned, I am the CEO of Mexico, the CEO of Worldwise Coaching and Training. I'm currently based in Phoenix, Arizona, after nearly 20 years of leading consulting and technology projects in Europe, Asia, and Australia for Fortune 100 and 500 companies. Throughout my career, I have had the benefit of seeing the barometer of tolerance for women's success and advancement move depending on the geography where I was based in. Some of my former homes were certainly more hospitable to the progress of women than others. In order to protect the innocent, I'll refrain from naming names here publicly today, but you're welcome to ask me afterwards in private if you wish. Though I employ humor to lighten difficult conversations, the need to increase gender equity, safety, and advancement of women in the mining sector is a serious subject. As I recently heard a well-known female director say, misogyny is an invisible sport. The truth of this statement makes it critical that we work together, all of us, to advance and create lasting change for women in the mining industry. Without it, mining will be left behind in the battle for the best talent, which is currently being played out before all of us on the world stage. The health, growth, and innovation of the sector, not to mention the Mexican economy, depend on it. Historically, women have faced legal and cultural barriers to participating in certain industries, including mining. Under the ILO's Underground Work Convention of 1935, women were banned from working in underground mines in 98 ratifying countries. Today, while 30 countries have overturned that convention, including Canada, Australia, and the EU member states, it remains in place in 68 countries, including Mexico. To move to a more modern perspective, a 2019 report by the ILO, which surveyed 13,000 enterprises worldwide, indicated that 74% of enterprises promoting women in management reported a profit increase of between 5 and 20%. Since I began working in Mexico mining in 2019, I have had the opportunity to become acquainted with many outstanding female and male professionals. If it were my option, I would invite all of them here today to open the discussion. However, our esteemed panel, Mining Leader Perspectives, Success Factors in Mexico, is comprised of individuals I both respect and deeply admire for their personal dedication and commitment to action on the advancement of women in Mexico mining. Welcome Nancy Morales Naranjo, Fernando Alonso, Cynthia Villa-Navarrete, and Jonathan Bell. It is my pleasure to open this panel with our first question and to ask each of you to introduce yourselves prior to answering. Why is female representation and advancement in the mining sector sparse? What can mining companies do about it? And how could this impact their business beyond strengthening the fundamental values of equality, equity, and social environment? Cynthia Villa, I invite you to open our dialogue today.
Okay, thank you. Primeramente, gracias a Mayra por esta dedicatoria hermosa a mi madre, pues quien fue y quien me forjara durante toda mi vida. A México Mining Business por la invitación de estar en este panel, a Jennifer, Nancy, Jonathan e Ingeniera Lanis por permitirme compartir este espacio con ustedes. Y antes de entrar un poquito a la pregunta, pues me voy a presentar. Soy la ingeniera Cynthia Villa-Navarrete, socia fundadora y gerente general de Gruminex Soluciones para Minería y GL de Tech de Servicios de Detección de Fugas, primera empresa que desarrolla este servicio aquí en México. Soy ingeniero civil, egresado del Instituto Tecnológico de Sonora. Cuento con más de 18 años de experiencia dentro de la industria minera y fui seleccionada como mujer sonorense de 100 en el 2017 por el gobierno de Sonora. Actualmente, desde que el clúster minero de Sonora inició sus funciones aquí en Sonora, colaboro con ellos activamente dentro de la Comisión de Sustentabilidad y soy fiel creyente de promover, motivar e inspirar a las nuevas generaciones a buscar oportunidades en la industria minera. Y dentro de eso, parte de lo que nosotros hacemos aquí en la empresa es apoyar en nuestra medida a diferentes estudiantes, empezando con sus prácticas, de los cuales ya hay algunos profesionistas dentro de nuestra empresa y de lo cual me siento sumamente orgullosa. Y pues tocando un poco la pregunta, ¿no? ¿Cómo creemos que podemos forjar el avance en la minería? Creo que la representación de las mujeres es escasa porque lo estigmatizamos como un mundo de hombres, ¿no? Donde pues el camino para las mujeres no es sencillo. Yo creo que independientemente de la industria, no es sencillo para nadie, pero hay ciertas industrias que decimos, esta industria pues no va tanto para las mujeres y se nos complica. La realidad es que se nos complica y lo comparto desde la perspectiva de la vivencia personal que a mí me ha tocado, ¿no? Creo que día a día las mujeres lidiamos con muchas situaciones que normalmente pues los hombres a veces no les toca o no les corresponde. Y creo que esta es parte de nuestra fortaleza, no poder ser multitask. Y por lo que creo que una de las maneras que la industria minera podría fortalecerlo es dando más imagen, no solo a las mujeres dentro de las propias mineras, sino exteriorizándolos hacia la sociedad, sino exteriorizándolo a las universidades, a las preparatorias, a las primarias, ¿no? Donde podamos mostrar donde están las mujeres operadoras de yucles, que es algo impresionante, hasta las mujeres que apoyan en los puestos directivos. Y ojo, no solo en las profesiones de las ciencias de la tierra, sino en todas, porque ustedes bien saben que en esta industria nos podemos encontrar desde ingenieros químicos, economistas, licenciados en ciencias de la comunicación, y creo que también esta es una brecha que hay que romper. Así que yo considero que es fundamental comunicar asertivamente. ¿Y cómo generaría valor esto? Pues leyendo un poco, me encontré que según la OCDE se estima que todo el mundo, las mujeres podrían aumentar los ingresos de los países hasta en un 76% si se superara la brecha de la participación en el empleo y la salarial, entre hombres y mujeres. Esto tiene un valor aproximado de 17 billones de dólares estadounidenses. Así que, ojo, tenemos mucho que aportar las mujeres que nos encontramos, no solo en la industria minera, sino todo lo que viene siendo en la fuerza laboral, tanto como directivos, como dueñas de negocios y socios como su servidor. Gracias.
Thank you very much, Cynthia, for that thoughtful response. As we have been friends for years, I also want to thank you from the bottom of my heart and give you my sincere condolences on the passing of your mom. And thank you for your showing again the female strength by showing up today to contribute. In continuing the tradition of ladies first, I would like to invite Nancy Morales Arango to please tell us a bit about yourself and answer our first question.
Thank you, Jen, so much for the introduction. Well, my name is Nancy Morales. I'm the Business Development Manager for Bureau Veritas. We're a global leader in testing, inspection, and certification since 1828, and our corporate offices are based out of France. Adding on to what Cynthia said, I think as an industry, we're facing intense pressure to innovate, advance, and evolve to a greener industry. This can only be done with industry innovation and increase of gender diversity to enhance the competitiveness and profitability that women bring to industries. Companies with the highest percentage of women in management were an average of 47% more profitable than those with lower participation. Businesses' competitiveness, environmental sustainability, corporate and industry culture is impacted by the presentation of equality. Some of the mining companies are increasing women's participation, which enhances the competitiveness of human resources, but also boosts their innovation and organizational performance. And here are some examples. From hierarchy to networking, from controlling to empowering, from planning to experimentation, from privacy to transparency. However, more research has to be conducted showing that gender diversity in the boardroom matters, because this brings a broader collection of experiences, viewpoints, and backgrounds, which results in better decision making. The attitude, beliefs, and culture stigma, I think, of women needs to be talked about and accepted in a male-populated industry, as I like to call it. Fostering some of these values of inclusion can help to improve the lack of women in the sector, Jen. So that's from my end.
Thank you, Nancy. I absolutely agree with you that women's contribution needs to be broadly acknowledged across all areas of business. Jonathan Bell, I'm going to ask you to please introduce yourself to us. Tell us a bit about yourself, your career, and answer our first question.
All right. Thank you very much, Jennifer. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to be involved in this panel. I'm very grateful to be able to speak with Nancy, Cynthia, Fernando, yourself. So my name is Jonathan Bell. I am the Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Dynapro Pumps, a Canadian company, and I'm the owner of Dynapro Pumps Mexico. I came to Hermosillo, Sonora 5 years ago and moved my family here permanently 3 years ago, just 3.5 years ago. So I've been living in Mexico for just over 3 years now and getting accustomed to the differences in culture and obviously with male and female representation as well. So I'm here because I'm personally interested in being a part of the change in diversity in the country and in the industry. And obviously this includes the percentage of women who are in our ecosystem right now. So I definitely believe that diversity is absolutely necessary for us to advance and develop breakthroughs, like what Nancy was just referring to, improving process overall. And we have so many pressures right now in our industry with things like ESR, community relations, that type of thing. And in order to overcome these challenges, I really believe that we need diverse backgrounds and we need different perspectives and empathy to really understand and advance the direction we're going. So, and I really believe that it comes down to two important aspects. I think there's many aspects of why female representation and advancement has been sparse, but really what I believe it comes down to is how we educate and raise our children, I think is a big one. I believe that if we want to change the future and include more girls or more women into the industry, then we have to start with our education system. If you look at Canada as an example right now, like engineering, one of the key components of mining, we have less than 12% enrollment of females. So it's not there. We don't have the numbers. And if we're looking at the future, well, how are we going to have more women in mining if we don't have a key component like engineers? So we have a big gap there. And then secondly, I think there's a huge gap with how we market and advertise the mining ecosystem to the rest of the world. And what I mean by that is we're not doing enough to attract diversity into our industry. We're not doing a good enough job promoting the significance and major contributions of mining in the world. So there's, like, you take a look at, there's some companies that are admired globally right now, like Tesla, and everyone wants to be part of Tesla, but they're not. We're not doing a good enough job of promoting, like, Tesla does not exist without mining. So The whole mining ecosystem, not just the mining companies in isolation, need to work in collaboration. And I think this is a priority. And it's very important for us to start collaborating together with like-minded individuals.
Thank you very much, Jonathan, and thank you for being here today. Indeed, as we have discussed as a group separately, women's advancement isn't possible without the support of men. And so I appreciate your contribution, and I'm honored to introduce our next panelist, Fernando Alonso. Fernando, thank you for being here. If you could please introduce yourself and give us an answer to this question.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. And it's a pleasure to share this panel with you, Nancy, Cynthia, and Jonathan. It really is a pleasure. I am one of those strange persons that Cynthia just mentioned. I am a chemical engineer, by the way, but has been working in this industry already for 24 years. My professional career lasts for 42 years. The first 18, I worked for a chemical company, DuPont company, where I learned a lot working in different businesses. And since 20 years ago, I joined Peñoles, and I'm very proud to participate in this business and especially in this company. I occupy different positions in the company. Last year, I was the CEO of Industrial Peñoles, and last year I was appointed as a CEO of a new area that coordinate the administrative and technical services for Fresnillo and Peñoles, among many other things. One of those things that I'm responsible now is to foster and promote the woman participation in our group. That I am convinced, I'm a believer, I am a true believer. I have been working very hard on doing that. Even when I was the president of the Mexican Mining Chamber, I nominate the first director that is a woman in the mining chamber. Actually, the mining chamber is the oldest chamber in Mexico, and I have the opportunity to position and nominate the first woman as a director, and she's doing a fantastic job, by the way. The question that you just made, Jennifer, is a very important question. It's a very profound question, and we need to digest and we need to separate in different areas that I'm pretty sure we will have the opportunity to go in more detail a little bit later. But I strongly believe that an organization that does not reflect the way that the society is organized is an organization that is going to fail. There is no doubt about it. There is advantages, there is value that add either the woman, the man, all the genders add values in a society. So we need to take advantage of that learning and try to make the organization a mirror of what is happening in the society. If we understand that, I'm pretty sure we are going to succeed as a company. That's the first message that I want to send to this panel, and I'm very happy to participate with all of you.
Thank you very much, Fernando, and thank you for your groundbreaking action at the earliest days of this movement. So we have you to thank not only today for where women are, but where we're going in the future. The next question that I have for everyone is, how can the low labor force participation of women in mining be improved, and which hurdles must be overcome in the process? And for this question, we're going to continue with Fernando.
Thank you, Jennifer. We have the opportunity as Peñoles and Fresnillo to be the first company in Mexico to really allow or to promote, not allow, but this really to promote the woman participation in our industry. And this happened and Cynthia is a witness of that, and this happened in La Herradura in the state of Sonora. When we force ourselves to change the mentality of our people and demonstrate that the woman participation was really important and they can add a lot of value to our organization. Today, we have been working very hard on that, recognizing there is a lot of things that need to be done. in Peñoles and Fresnillo, 21% of our labor force now is women. And you know, it's above the average, but we are far away from what we need to be. There are several barriers that we need to overcome. We need to learn many things when we start opening the door for women, because most of those barriers are cultural. Some other barrier are, I cannot say, but mindset situations. Things like we need to face, like the old miners doesn't allow the woman to go into the mine because they believe that the mine is a woman and is going to be jealous if another woman goes in and is not going to stop producing metals. You know, that's that kind of situation we need to face. We also, in Latin America, unfortunately, we still have the macho mentality in many areas. And in Mexico, it's changing, fortunately changing, but if you move to the South or Southeast states, we need to make a major labor trying to change that mindset. I strongly agree with what Cynthia pointed out at the beginning. One of the challenges we have also is the change of the image of the mining. Mining in the past, many years ago, 40 years ago maybe, was associated with the physical practice and physical work. That changed drastically through technology. And what we need to do is to demonstrate that mining now is a different industry, an industry where really talented women, we need talented women to participate because they have a lot of value. I stop right there because I will mention later some other information. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think I agree with you 100% that perception, and this is a global perception, needs to change. And perception, what we need to do is illustrate that women are much stronger than men would give us credit for the majority of the time. And so with that comment, I move to a very strong woman, Nancy Morales Arango, to give us your thoughts on this question.
Thank you, Jen. To follow up on what Ms. Eleni said regarding the hurdles, from an environmental or broader sustainability point of view, it is extremely important that we have the trust, I think, of communities where exploration and mining projects are operating to increase the labor pool. Reason for this is the labor force needed to operate and execute successfully projects by having a campaign recruiting to gender equality, to join like the needed labor force that is needed. We have to go beyond and understand the expectations of the communities and continuously improve our performance and popularity on subjects such as environmental and social impacts of mining to this remote location. The pandemic has challenged for the digital transformation to be transformed in record times. Spaces and places to get your work done has shifted. The digital impact in our industry by the demand needed for minerals for this transformation to happen, humans, yes, men and women need to get together to excel and keep up with the rapid changing. Leading companies are focusing on skills. And you may ask, why is that so? Some of the current skills in our industry are becoming obsolete due to the use of new technologies that are transforming the innovation that our industry must apply to keep up with the demand. Technology, cultural, and leadership development, teams, and diversity is proven in multiple research reports. Varying perspectives and experience leads to a more robust solution and problem solving. US will hire 20% into apprenticeship programs, not a 4-year degree. It will focus on developing skills that align with the rapid demand, adjustments, and digital transformation of the world. Data, technologies, and skills is a roadmap to move from commitment to action to meet sustainable goals around diversity. That's what I thing needs to happen, Jen.
I absolutely agree, Nancy. Thank you very much. It's moving from discussion to action is certainly what we have to do next. Jonathan, would you please give us your perspective?
For sure. Thank you. So I believe we have many hurdles to overcome to increase women participation. A few of what we've been mentioning and what I stated before with education and with the image of mining, we have some big hurdles there. And then, as we discussed in our previous conversation, like we had this feminist movement in the 1960s when we had men going away to war and then coming back, and women were filling these jobs, and they came back and they said, hey, we like these jobs and we want to be involved in it. We've had a taste for this now, and it's probably the best thing that happened. But Mexico hasn't had that same movement that Canada or US had. So I can tell you, like, as an example, like firsthand in like the 1980s, 90s, I had the experience of watching my own mother, who was a high-ranking executive or worked her way up to be a high-ranking executive, but I watched her develop and had males around her that were making more money than her, or they reported, even some of them reported to her. She was their manager and they were making more money than her. So I know that there's gender bias and pay gaps. And I know that still exists. And I was witness to some of the fears around things like how she's being treated by men or sexual harassment, those types of things. So, and when I moved to Mexico, Jennifer, I mentioned this to you before, I kind of felt like I took a step back into that time. And it made me feel like I was back in like the 1980s, 1990s. And I witnessed it firsthand because I started a company here. And hiring people and seeing the difference in how people got treated. And I'll tell you, like, one of the biggest eye-openers was, I'm Canadian and growing up in a feminist household, there was no problem with me hiring women and putting them in charge to develop my business. And the fear, possibly, or the feelings of the men that were working with them alongside with them, or that I used to have in the past working with me, it was showcased, and it took me like right back to that time, you know? So I know that, like Fernando mentioned, there's this macho mentality. That's kind of new to me here in the last 3 years, but you definitely see it everywhere you go. And I think the biggest hurdle and how we can overcome this hurdle is we need more people to put women in places where they're making decisions so that other people can see the success that those companies are having. So when my company has success and they say, hey, what's going on here? He's got more female managers than male managers. How is this happening, right? Like it's new. So I think we have to lead by example. And I believe that's how we can overcome these hurdles.
Thank you, Jonathan. I think you're right that we need to put more women in positions of power or decision-making and let the magic speak for itself. Cynthia Villa, I'd love to hear what you have to add to this.
Okay, gracias. Como ya bien mencionaron, ¿no? Anteriormente, creo que una de las cuestiones principales es motivar como bien lo mencionan, y motivar también uno con el ejemplo, con mujeres como tú, Jennifer, Nancy, Mayra, que estamos aquí, ¿no? Promoviendo las buenas prácticas y encontrarnos con más personalidades como el ingeniero Fernando y como con Jonathan, que están promoviendo y viendo realmente la efectividad de las ventajas que es tener mujeres en sus compañías, ¿no? Así que seguir promoviendo las buenas prácticas y todas las oportunidades que hay dentro de la misma, ¿no? En lo particular, pues yo llegué a la industria minera por la invitación de un amigo con el que yo trabajaba anteriormente, y siempre me apoyó, me enseñó, y recuerdo yo mucho, pues todavía me acuerdo porque fue de las primeras experiencias que tuve. Yo no sabía nada de minería, por supuesto en la escuela nunca me habían enseñado nada de minería, y era programador de obra y me tocaba pues revisar toda la ingeniería, y recuerdo haber visto los planos de los molinos y me ponía a estudiarlos, y cuando llegué a campo y vi el molino fue muy impactante, ¿no? Y ahí fue parte de lo que me enamoré de la industria y de lo esencial que era para nuestro diario vivir. Entonces creo yo que una de las cuestiones importantes es motivar, invitar a más mujeres a que vengan y lo vivan, ¿no? Pero no podemos tampoco negarnos y cerrarnos a los obstáculos que nos encontramos, ¿no? Como bien mencionaba tanto el ingeniero Alanis como Nancy, pues hay que cambiar, y yo creo que es la parte más complicada de esto, cambiar la mentalidad, la cultura. Todavía hay una brecha muy larga. Creo que más todavía aquí en México, tristemente, con esa mentalidad del macho men, es un poquito más complicado, y es triste, ¿no? Porque también, por más que queramos y digamos, sí, habemos mujeres trabajando en la industria, nos encontramos en situaciones, y a mí me ha pasado que hay caballeros que no les gusta, o yo creo que por la mentalidad dicen, ¿sabes qué? No, yo con una mujer no quiero negociar. Y yo digo, pues a mí no me interesa si quieres o no quieres negociar conmigo, yo lo que quiero es trabajar. Si tú quieres hablar con mi socio, con todo gusto, pásale adelante. Yo necesito y quiero trabajar no por mí, sino por todo el equipo que traemos detrás. Y eso es un cambio de mentalidad. O sea, y son situaciones que se los comparto porque creo que este es el panel adecuado donde tenemos que compartir que es importante el cambio de mentalidad, ¿no? Y al final es pensar que no venimos las mujeres a querer quitar puestos ni a querer robar situaciones, simplemente queremos venir a hacer equipo, porque esa es una de nuestras cualidades, que nos gusta hacer equipo, que nos gusta colaborar, y creo yo firmemente en eso, y como si bien entendí, y dijo Nancy, es motivando y desarrollando en transformar y desarrollar las aptitudes de las mujeres, y que también nos las creamos. Gracias.
It's not a coincidence that I agree with everything that's being put forward here today, and having had the pleasure of meeting Jonathan's mother at a forum that he had last year, listening to her firsthand experiences, Jonathan's experiences, Cynthia, everyone here today. I think that it's also important that we recognize that as far as we need to go, the change is happening. Change is happening, and change must happen. And in order to keep up with the digital transformation, we need to make it happen faster. So my next question is, how can the mining industry support the advancement of women in the sector? And what successful practices have you seen or participated in that you can share with the audience? Nancy, I'd love for you to start.
Thanks, Jen. To add to what Cynthia mentioned, just about her experience, I think STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, institutionalize gender equality and inclusion through practical policies, and innovating by enhancing the importance of careers within our industry, and how women and men can be role models to enhance the support that is needed. It is clear that everything starts with education from as early as elementary school. As the current SME president for Mexico, my contribution has been to develop more student chapters in Mexico. We currently have 4 student chapters, and inclusivity and mentorship are a key point to retaining diversity within the universities. So University of Sonora, Universidad Nacional Autónoma de México, Universidad Autónoma de Nuevo León, Universidad Autónoma de Coahuila. So how can women be retained in this industry? The latest poll shows that more women than men are graduating from universities. But the shift begins to decline when women in their early 30s leave the industry to start a family. Working environments need to be tailored, I think. Stereotypes on women in leadership, like Jonathan mentioned, and encouragement to pursue their career further by mentorship, seeking roles which they would not have otherwise consider, and to ask for more raises and promotions. Higher number of women on boards can therefore instigate cultural change and has a strongly symbolic meaning by showing the women can be leaders. The skill sets that our industry needs today are changing from those, I think, of the past.
Thank you, Nancy. I sounds like I should just put myself on repeat saying I agree with everything you're saying. I would like Fernando, please, to follow up on what Nancy has said, as I know education is near and dear to your heart as well. Please give us your thoughts on this question.
Thank you, Nancy. You are not the only one. I also agree on what just Nancy mentioned. There is a lot of work to be done especially with the young generations. Yes, we need to be closer to them. And it's unbelievable that the accessibility that the women have to the STEM science is really low. So we need to promote more and to eliminate barriers for the woman to have access at younger stages for these STEM activities, all these sciences. So I have an opportunity to share with all of you a video of some things that we are doing in Peñoles and Fresnillo, promoting the technology through competition, robotic competition, in which we force the teams to be 50-50%, 50% women, 50% boys, and make them work together. And we really feel very proud of the success that we are having. Close to 3,000 kids has been going through this program with very good results. Close to a little bit above 90% has been choosing some engineering or science career, which is our goal, to work closer to them and to consider the science as an option. So there is a job that needs to continue being done at different levels of the society, and especially in the communities where we are operating, is easier to do things like that. So we can be able, not only we participate with the communities in different activities. That's the typical way of doing business of the mining companies. We really improve the quality of life, but we can also improve the quality of education and help them to consider the mining as an option. And especially for them that really understand what is mining all about. So in my opinion, that's a great opportunity that we have to start working with the closer community that we have. It was just to share with you few numbers that we have been collecting in the mining chamber. Last year, a total of 60,000 women is the number that we have that is participating in the Mexican mining industry. This represents 16% of the workforce. But when you make a breakdown of this, the balance is not close to the average. For example, if you analyze what is the participation on boards, it's only 13%. As a directors, it's only 10%. As a managers, it's only 15%. As a supervisors, 12%. In administrative areas, yes, obviously, it's 24%. In technician, 30%. Health, 23%. But in operations, only 9%. So yes, the average is 16%, but we need to not only to increase the percentage, but also to have the right balance in the different areas of the organization if we truly want to take advantage of the value added of the woman in our industry. So we have many things to continue improving, but the good news is that in the year 2008, we only have 33,000 women. So we almost have double, but it's only 16%. Okay, that's a message I just want to leave here. Thank you.
As I said before, it is important to acknowledge change is happening. So thank you for pointing that out. And for anyone who hasn't yet had the opportunity to view the video that Fernando is referencing, I highly encourage you to do so, because it is incredibly inspiring and a great example of how to illustrate to communities mining possibilities and mining careers. The next contestant that I would like to answer this question, please, Cynthia, would you tell us your thoughts?
Thank you, Jennifer. Ok, pues bueno, ya, de hecho ya lo mencionó, ¿no? Ahorita una de las cuestiones en cómo la industria minera puede apoyar en el avance de las mujeres, ¿no? Generando lo que ya se viene manejando en la SMI, que viene siendo las redes de tutoreo y apoyo entre nosotros, pero creo que también desde donde nos encontramos, ¿no? Es importante también darnos cuenta de la importancia de la mujer, ¿no? Donde también el soporte de los caballeros es sumamente importante, y yo creo que es tan importante, siendo que suman más del 80% en la industria laboral, dentro de la industria minera, ¿no? Es importante que concilien, que motiven, que valoren la experiencia que las mujeres podemos dar, y que recordemos que pues una de las grandes cuestiones que maneja la equidad de género implica que las mujeres y los hombres debemos de tener los mismos derechos, beneficios, igualdad de oportunidades, y ser tratadas con el mismo respeto, ¿no? Como bien decía Alanis, las cifras, y yo creo que son datos bastante interesantes en decir, a ver, me gustaría retomar esta charla en un año más y ver cómo ha crecido ese porcentaje, ¿no? Sería bastante interesante, ¿no? Y yo creo que también es importante, una de las cuestiones apoyar es darnos cuenta, ¿no? Reconocer las características principalmente fuertes con las que contamos las mujeres, como la intuición, que el sexto sentido, señores, sí existe, de veras que sí existe. Si sus mujeres les dicen algo, créanlo, porque de verdad sí existe. La empatía, la facilidad de coordinación y la administración que se nos da naturalmente, por más que estudiemos una licenciatura en administración, se nos da. Ser multitareas, y esto pues requiere ser reconocido, ¿no? Y dentro de las mujeres, creo que una de las cosas importantes para ver nuestro avance es creérnosla. Muchas veces tenemos tantas características y nos la dicen y nos la recalcan, y muchas veces no nos las creemos. Entonces necesitamos nosotros como mujeres también reconocer todas esas aptitudes y esa experiencia y ese conocimiento que podemos aportar, ¿no? Entonces es importante eso, apoyarnos, por supuesto, porque el progreso es progreso de todos, y debemos de darnos felicidad del progreso de todos. Así que creo que lo básico que se requiere y que he visto yo en la práctica es el apoyo. Que el apoyo es simplemente ayudar a alguien a conseguir algo que desea. Gracias.
I'm just not going to turn myself off on mute anymore. Jonathan.
Yes, thank you. So I agree with what everyone's saying, and I think we've touched the point here. There's one thing that I do want to add to this, and give kudos to each of you, is I think what we really need for the advancement of women is great leadership, and it doesn't matter if it's male or female, because if you have a leader that inspires and motivates and can help any individual find their passion, find their strengths, it's going to help that individual advance. So the more unbiased leaders we have to help grow and develop the mining ecosystem, the better. Whether they're coming from different industries or within our own industry, I think it's important that we have new innovative thinkers, and I think that will help the advancement of women.
Thank you, Jonathan. I'm just looking at the clock, and I'm cognizant of the fact that we did start a few minutes late, but we're entering the lightning round here. So we have 2 more questions to go. Women are a key asset to growth, innovation, and development for our industry. How can we attract more women to mining careers? Cynthia.
Ok, gracias, Jennifer. Pues mira, yo creo que como hija, pues aprendí a ser constante, ¿no? A no rendirme en el camino y a luchar por mis metas. Y como madre, deseo que eso lo compartamos, ¿no? Con nuestros hijos, y no solo con nuestros hijos, sino con los jóvenes, ¿no? Yo creo que es importante y que es clave forjarles una mentalidad de crecimiento. Actualmente a los jóvenes, sobre todo los millennials, como que se les complica aceptar ciertos retos que se les presentan en la vida diaria. Tenemos un reto nosotros los que tenemos más experiencia, por no decir que somos más viejitos, ¿no? O sea, los que tenemos más experiencia, ayudarlos, ¿no? En eso. Y yo estuve pensando en cómo podíamos compartirlo esto, ¿no? Porque creo también que la juventud está hambrienta de saber qué hacer. Creo que ahora como que se les facilita todo con el internet, que todo quieren resolver y creen que el internet es la clave de todo y no investigan más allá de eso. Entonces están internetizados, decía yo, y eso es lo que los influye, ¿no? Y creo que una de las formas de compartir esto, pues es usar las plataformas que ellos usan, ¿no? O sea, y me refiero a esto no nada más para las mujeres, sino también para los hombres, porque sí hablamos de cómo atraer más mujeres a las carreras mineras, pero se nos olvida que en la minería no solo usamos carreras mineras y ciencias de la tierra. Vuelvo al punto ese, porque sí traigo algo personal ahí en que tenemos que invitar a más profesiones a crecer y creer en la industria minera. Y creo que podemos usar plataformas como TikTok, como Instagram, quizás, o otros que quizás no conozcamos, ¿no? O sea, ¿y por qué no crearnos influencers de la minería? Creo que podemos hacer algo así, con ello motivarlos y conocer esta bella industria, ¿no? Promover prácticas como las que se usan en Estados Unidos del programa llamado Bring Your Child to Work Day. ¿Qué tal si las empresas en México, y no solo de minería, crean programas en el Día Internacional de la Niña, como invita a tu hija, a tu sobrina, a tu ahijada a un día de labores contigo, y que desde esa edad ellas ya puedan ir conociendo lo que las mujeres podemos hacer dentro de la industria? Entonces creo que esas son las ideas que creo que podemos hacer. Así que si alguien se hace famoso en TikTok minero, por favor, avísenos para compartirlo ahí con nuestros adolescentes y jóvenes.
Thank you, Cynthia. We look forward to your first TikTok video. Fernando, what would you like to tell us?
Yes, we already mentioned on some key activities we need to do to get closer to mainly in high school with women, to let them know about what is mining about. We have been promoting different presentations given by women miners. It's from woman to woman. Mm-hmm. And it's having a very success. You know, we are inviting some of our the women that work for us to go to the high schools and to talk about mining, because they know how to make that attractive to other women, because it's the story told by them. So we encourage also the visit of the families into the workplace, just to take out the image that the mining industry is dangerous, because it's one of the challenges that we have to overcome. That we are really friends of the environment. We are really care about the communities. So the only things to demonstrate that is taking families into the workplace, and it's helping a lot. We as a mining chamber are also providing scholarship aids for women to be sure that they are not going to have any economical problem to fulfill their needs and finish the career. We have noticed some improvements, and yes, I'm an engineer and I like figures. So the information we have after collecting information of 53 universities in Mexico, of 11 careers related with the earth science, we have that last year there was a total of 1,431 women that graduate from the different earth science careers. Even sounds a lot. No, it's not a lot. It's really is only the 9.3% of the total people that graduates. It's a major improvement if you consider the figures of the 2019. We only have 994 women. So yes, it's an improvement of 44%. But these tell us many things. You know, a lot of things need to be done, but what we are doing in some way is helping to attract the young woman to consider the mining industry as an option for them for them to work. And we need to continue encouraging these activities.
It's fantastic news about the scholarships, and I heard someone say, it was a famous actress, but doesn't matter. A very simple statement about having more female professional successful role models visible, that for girls, if she can see it, she can be it. And it's a simple thing to remember, but it's very, very true. Jonathan, what would you like to share?
For sure, and exactly what was said, I believe in from Cynthia and Fernando. I think we're right on point there, and in terms of keeping this succinct and to the point. I definitely think it's my favorite thing is marketing, and I believe it's the marketing and how we are delivering the message. If you Google anything related to mining right now, you're probably going to get a couple guys that look like me wearing hard hats. And that's kind of what it is, right? That's the stigma that it is. So, and that needs to change. But I also believe it needs to change to younger generation as well. Like if you look at advertising for different Lego, construction toys, stuff like that, it's all focused around boys. That's their target market. And they're creating the stigma for young girls, for young boys, that this is boys, this is girls. And it's not necessarily accurate. So I think we need to change that. And how do we do that? Well, we have to get the whole mining ecosystem behind it and really encourage and closing the gender gap.
I think you just gave someone a great idea for the toy industry. I have to laugh because my feed on International Miners Day was full of male miners underground with hard hats, etc. on my LinkedIn feed. And so I created an image that was all women that said Happy Mineras Day. And I think we need to do more of these things. Nancy, what would you like to add?
So adding on to obviously what Jonathan, Fernando, and Cynthia said, the attraction of women is about becoming change makers. Yes, change makers. We are naturally nurturers. As a mother, I want to be part of the revolutionizing movement of mining, becoming a leading green industry and innovative industry. We need to have a diverse career pool skills to attract girls, boys, teenagers, and young adults to choose mining as a top career of choice from an early age. Our mining industry is very cyclical, but the pandemic has changed the demand of metals. This has resulted in an increase in automation and artificial intelligence, as an example that we are witnessing because it is so fast versus post-pandemic. Many of the changes will require adjustments in operational standards where men and women can operate machinery and equipment side by side. As an example, I think mentorship. We as an industry need to reach out and encourage and share our professional journeys to others. And that is why I'm here today, Jennifer.
Absolutely right, Nancy. Thank you. All right, we are exactly at 1:01 p.m. We have one question left. I don't know. I'm going to ask each panelist to answer the question and give us your final remark as quickly as possible, because Myra's here to tell us we need to stop talking. So Jonathan, would you like to start?
Sure, I'll go as quickly as possible here. So just continuing on from the last point, really what I think it is I think we need to work together as a mining ecosystem, not just, for example, Fernando and Panolis working, trying to change the perception of mining, because it's not just the mining companies, it's the suppliers, the government, the educators, it's everyone involved in this ecosystem. It's companies like Tesla that use mining, that require mining. So we need to work together, men and women, rather than independently, and really focus on the message that we're delivering and try to improve the education around mining as well. And right now we're looking at a shortage. The outlook is there's a shortage of people applying into mining careers, and it doesn't matter if it's men or women. That's a problem for the mining community. So we need to fix this problem, and we need to attract as many diverse backgrounds as possible to help advance our industry.
Absolutely, and leverage those best practices across geographies, as you said.
Yes.
Nancy, lightning round to you.
All right. Well, just to add what Jonathan just mentioned, I think stabilize academic programs capacity, innovate the attraction, motivation, and the purpose that mining industry has to offer to men and women. Recognize and support changing professional development needs. Expand opportunities to disseminate a present innovation research. Encourage the application of innovation and results in research results. Stimulate innovation by learning from setbacks. As the environment we live in changes, we need for minerals and mining changes will increase the demand for products from our industry. The National Mining Association reports that electrical vehicles will increase copper demand from 185,000 tons in 2017 to 1.74 tons in 2020. Demand for nickel, cobalt, and lithium, all used in electrical batteries, will grow by 70 to 90%. This example illustrates how innovation can have a major impact upon the health of our industry in mining. Focus on green energy can naturally lead to a better perception of mining and lead more students to pursue a career in this industry. We must engage the general public to understand that a sustainable green industry cannot be reached with the minerals that are extracted from us in the mining industry. Gaining the support of public and social influencers to help promote a focus on green energy in the industry. We need to demonstrate that working in our industry is something that really does matter to the benefit of society at large. Remember, if it can be grown, it has to be mined.
Very important, Nancy. Thank you. And you're 100% right that demand is placing even more scrutiny on the mining industry worldwide. Cynthia, what would you like to share as your final remarks?
Ok, creo que es parte de lo que se ha mencionado todo, ¿no? Extender la invitación, o sea, tratando de redundar en 4 puntos, es extender la invitación a preparatorias y universidades, volviendo a no enfocarnos únicamente en las carreras de ciencia de la tierra, para que las demás profesiones puedan visualizar a la minería como un desarrollo profesional, generar una red de perfiles profesionales aplicables para mujeres, porque sí hay muchas, en todas podemos aplicar, pero sabemos que hay ciertos perfiles que son más poderosos para mujeres. Entonces, hacer una red de perfiles por empresa que diga, ¿sabes qué? Esto va para, que puede ser mujeres y hombres, ¿no? Pero creo que es importante dar igualdad en las percepciones salariales. Ese es un importante punto para cerrar la brecha de género. Y considerando los datos también que mencionaba hace un momento el ingeniero Alanis, considerando que hay muchas mujeres, ¿no? Trabajando, y él mencionaba que teníamos 10% de ese 16% de mujeres trabajando, solo 10% de ese 16 eran directoras, pero la brecha sigue siendo amplia, y yo me pregunto, y desde que yo creo que entré en la industria minera me pregunto, ¿cuánto de ese porcentaje son mujeres dueñas de negocio o socias de empresa? Es un dato que a mí me interesaría en algún momento que el INEGI pudiera sacar, la verdad. Yo creo que es curiosidad mía, y en base a este punto es desarrollar servicios financieros que cumplan con las necesidades de las mujeres empresarias, pero ojo, no solo microempresarias, sino mujeres empresarias que estamos al frente de empresas como la mía, ¿no? Que damos servicios profesionales a la industria minera. Hay muchas empresas de servicio, pero habemos otras que damos un servicio más profesional. Entonces, generar un servicio financiero que apoyen a empresas como la mía, creo que serían mis 4 puntos. Extender invitaciones, generar red de perfiles, igualdad de percepción laboral, y desarrollar servicios financieros para empresas. Gracias, Jennifer.
Thank you very much, Cynthia. And as long as Myra doesn't turn off our microphones, then I'm turning it over to Fernando for your final words, sir. Thank you.
Yes, I'm going to be very, very, very quick in my comments. It's all of the above. But I also might add one thing. The cultural change needs to be overcome. And we have learned that the cultural changes need to start from the top. So we, the ones who has a leadership role in the different companies we are in, we need to be the leaders, we need to be the champions, we need to be the promoters of this change. So besides what has been said, I truly believe that is responsible of all the CEOs, all the leaders to make this feasible. And I'm committed, and there I know many people that are committed to do that. So just let's do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Fernando. And thank you everyone for bringing your expertise, your experience to this forum today to share with the audience, with myself. I know I've learned quite a lot from talking with all of you. And I would like to invite everyone to our breakout session, right? Myra, would you like to speak more about that?